Matter before the body is the passage of Senate Bill 245 with Floor Amendment 1. Any other member wishing to speak? Senator from Madison.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I appreciate the comments of the very honorable senator from Fayette 13. And to a lot of people, this is a very difficult issue, and sometimes it's an emotional issue, because we mix so many things in what really is a very basic issue. What we're talking about here today is not white and black marriages and the history of that. What we're talking about here today has nothing to do with Cassius Clay. What we're talking about here today is a very, very basic principle that is cherished by most of the people in the state of Kentucky, and I think the overwhelming majority of the people in this nation. The bill that's before you is not an anti-gay bill. The bill before you is not a discrimination bill, and it is not intended to be that way, or I would not stand here and speak in favor of the bill. What we are doing here today is reaffirming, allowing the people of Kentucky to reaffirm their belief, their very basic and core belief, that the definition of a marriage is between a man and a woman. And if we don't believe they will reaffirm that, put this on the ballot and you'll find out. Now, in my life, I've had to change a great deal. I was born and raised in McVeigh, Kentucky, in Pike County along Pond Creek. And from where I lived, if you went by my house, you only went squirrel hunting. There was no reason, there was no civilization beyond my house. And from there to here, I've had to change a great deal. And all of you have had to change. I live in a world where some liberal judges and a handful full of people changed the system to where my children couldn't say the Lord's Prayer in school, as everybody in this chamber had the opportunity to do. If anybody believed that hurt you, raise your hand. If anybody in the balcony believed that that hurt you at any time, raise your hand. I live in a world where we are going to not be able to say the pledge to the Legiance in public places because it has the words, "In God we trust," because of a handful of people who challenged that was wrong. I wonder what Hancock, Madison, Jefferson, and Franklin would think if they, the framers of our Constitution, if they were here and could see how we have misinterpreted the Constitution to serve a few at the cost of many. I don't believe that it is too far-fetched, and I don't think that anybody in this room believes that it is too far-fetched with what we have seen with the prayer in school, with the pledge to the Legiance, that some liberal judge will interpret our laws and Constitution and declare that the definition of a marriage is in fact not between a man and a woman. And for that reason, I think this is an appropriate piece of legislation to allow the people of Kentucky the opportunity, if they would like, to simply restate and redefine not what the legislative intent is, but what the taxpayer and the voter scent is. And that's what's significant. If you look at any reference on what marriage is, you're going to see that it is defined as a union between a man and a woman. I have a lot of books, a lot of old books. So last night, I found a very old dictionary, and I looked up marriage. And what it says is the legal union of a man and a woman. The second definition is the formal declaration or contract by which act a man and a woman join in wedlock. That is as old as our society. The historical definition of marriage is the union of a man and a woman. Now, we've had a couple Bible lessons here today, but if you look at it biblically, you can find, whether it's the Old Testament, the New Testament, whichever you prefer, constant references to that, in fact, of a marriage being between a man and a woman. I found one pretty interesting in Proverbs last night. The Bible expressed great wisdom and foresight when it said, better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome, ill-tempered wife. With a quarrelsome, ill-tempered wife. There's no need to stand up here and quote the Bible, and there's no need to stand up here and confuse this issue. We are not talking about discrimination. We're not talking about anti-gays. We're not talking about Cassius Clay. We're not talking about white and black marriages. Our laws are very clear. It defines and explains what marriage is. The only thing that we're doing here is, given the events of Massachusetts and California, we have an awful lot of good tax-paying people who want the opportunity to reaffirm and redefine what they want marriage to be. This is an appropriate bill. It's a good bill, and it's a bill that, if it passes both chambers, will overwhelmingly be accepted by the people of Kentucky. And I urge your support of the bill.